Okay, student, all the student, please look here. All the student. The Renner, Afi. Okay, all the students, please look here. So this should be 25 degrees Celsius, not 16. Okay, in our assignments, this should be 25 degrees Celsius, not 16. Okay, it should be 25. Okay, I will replace this. Okay, I will replace. This should be 25 degrees Celsius. Okay, this should be 25 degrees Celsius. Okay, I will also put 2 here. Okay, thank you, Stone. Okay, let's continue.你刚才在那边聊天，然后现在才要去装水。Okay, next. Okay, next I would like to talk about this logo. The CAA of 1990. Okay, the CAA stands for here, the Clear Air Act. So the reason goes 1990 is the 1990 amendments, 修正案. Okay, amendments of the Clean Air Act, CAA. And this introduced nationwide, okay, actually in United States, nationwide in United States. Okay, so this is the major environmental law. Okay, updated, amendment means updated. Amendment means updated. It's an updated law. Okay, in United States. So they try to reduce the asset pollution. Try to reduce asset pollution. Because the asset pollution will cause the health issue. Okay, so this is what I mentioned here. This law is designed to reduce asset rent. to reduce acid rain because acid rain will harm human's house. So if they can reduce acid rain, it can improve the public house. So try to reduce two major chemicals, two major pollutants. One is sulfur dioxide, sulfur dioxide. The other one is the oxides of nitrogen, the so-called NOx, nitrogen oxide. Okay, so there are two categories. Okay, there are two categories. The first one is called primary standards. The primary standards. So the goal of primary standards is try to protect human health, including like children, like the elderly, and some sensitive populations. Okay, so try to limit PM 2.5 to prevent lung disease. You might doubt what the problem with PM 2.5. What the problem with this small, tiny particles? Because although the particle is so tiny, but think about this, the carbon dioxide, okay, let's call this maybe larger a little bit. Let's call this PM 2.5. Think about this, if the carbon dioxide coated around the PM 2.5 and you exhale, okay, you inhale the PM 2.5 into your lung. And your lung is moisture, right? It's moist. You got some water in your lung, right? And those carbon dioxides in with waters become sulfurous acid. Okay, so this is the issue of PM 2.5. And because it's light, it's light, it will float in the air. It will not sink to the ground. Okay, so the goal for the primary standard is to protect the human health. So this is the goal. Okay, and secondary standard. So the goal for secondary standard is to protect human welfare, including the environment and infrastructures, such as buildings, statues, okay, those historic statues. Okay, so the goal for secondary standard is to protect human properties, your properties, the 财产, okay, including environment, including those buildings, those structures, those statues. Okay, so the new efforts, the additional removal. Okay, so we have some scientists invented some cleaner fuels. Cleaner fuels to remove the sulfur and nitrogen oxide. Okay, we know the sulfur dioxide will cause acid rain, right? And the NOx will cause smoke, as well as the acid rain. Sulfur dioxide is the general elements, okay, the general cause for the acid rain. And NOx will not just cause acid rain, it will also cause something called smoke. Smoke. Okay. The next, I would like to talk about the Kyoto Protocol. I already mentioned this before. Okay. The Kyoto Protocol and beyond. So this is the global effort trying to reduce greenhouse gases. GHG. So we know that you know this before, right? The Kyoto Protocols. So this is the global effort, not a single country. Okay, student. CAA is for United States. Okay, because our textbook is written by an American scholar. The CAA is for United States. Okay, but in Taiwan, actually we copy lots of rules and regulations from the United States. Okay? But the Kyoto Protocol is worldwide. So it's a global effort. It's a global effort to reduce the greenhouse gases. Okay? So the timelines in 1992, under the United Nations framework, Convention on Climate Change, 160 countries signed. And a prize here means started. A prize here means started. Started in 1994. And the goal, so this is the goal. The goal is try to let developed countries okay, developed countries should reduce greenhouse gases emissions to 1990, the year of 1990 data, by the year of 2000. By the year of 2000. Okay? Keep that in mind. Why this Kyoto Protocol is so important, mentioned again and again. And this happened like 30 years ago. Because the Kyoto Protocol is the first global agreement for reducing greenhouse gases. But the problem is, this is just an agreement. There was no legal binding. So no legal binding for Kyoto Protocol. 没有法律效力的。No legal binding. So even you violate, even you don't want to obey it, the United Nations cannot fine you, cannot give you a penalty. You know what I'm saying? Even some countries like China, they didn't want to obey this agreement, but United Nations couldn't do anything. This is the problem. So this is the first global agreement, but the problem is no legal binding, no penalty, no penalty. Okay? So some countries, they just care about the economy growth. Okay, they don't care about the environment. So they did not obey, they did not follow the rules. Okay? So this is the first I think for noting. Okay. I mentioned about the one in, so no legal binding is the one in, I mentioned about this one. The 1992 one. Okay. Student, the 1990, I should put this here. Okay, student, I want to differentiate the difference. The 1992 one, no legal binding. But the one in 1997, the one in 1997, there is the legal binding. Okay, there's the legal binding. That means the countries, they want to participate, they must obey these agreements. Try to reduce the greenhouse gas emissions. Okay? Student, let me repeat this. Student, listen up. Everyone, take good ears. Okay? The ones in 1992. The one in 1992. This is the first global agreements for reducing greenhouse gases. Okay? And this one started in 1994. But the problem is, the one in 1992, there was no legal binding. So even you don't want to obey, even you violate, there is no penalty. The United Nations cannot do anything. Therefore, the one in, let me put a star here. Let me put a star here. Okay, so through the 2008, there's 14 sections. Okay, 14 sections. The section here means 14 meetings. 14 means held through 2008. Based on this so-called 1997 Kyoto Protocol. Okay? And 1992 is the first global agreement. 1997 Kyoto Protocol is the first legal bindings agreements, international agreements under conventions. Okay, the convention here is the international agreement. International agreement. Okay, the legal binding here means the countries must obey it. Otherwise, the United Nations got the right to investigate and even give you some penalties. Okay, so this one, the 1997 one, is adopted on December 11th. December 11th in 1997. However, because this one got legal binding, right? So some country against for this. Okay, so they have lots of meetings. So this one entered into force in 2005. In 2005. Because lots of countries ratifies. Because lots of countries ratify. The ratify means they try to argue. They try to bargain. Okay, they want not that strict rules. Understand? They try to bargain, they try to argue. That's a reason, student. That's a reason. Through 2008, they were 14 meetings held regarding this 1997 Kyoto Protocol. And you can see that, for example, like this one, in 1992, but a prize started it 2 years later, right? But this one, adopted in 1997, but started or entered into force after 8 years. Because lots of countries disagree. Okay, for example, like China, they disagree. Okay, they disagree. They just care about money. They just care about the economy. They don't care about pollution. Okay, that's the reason you can see in 2018, they are highly polluted in their coast area. Okay, I showed you this previously, so I'm not going to go over. Okay, next. Okay, next I would like to show you Okay, next I want to show you how Taiwanese government controls air pollution. Okay, although we are not the members, you might know this, right? Although Taiwan is not a member of the United Nations, but we obey, we follow the rules set by the United Nations. The reason we are not the member of the United Nations because of China. Okay. So we follow the rules. Okay, we follow the rule as a member of this global village. So we set the rules, try to control, we set the rule, we set the regulation, we set the policies, try to control air pollution. For example, like this one. The first one. Okay, so this is about the The first one is about the boiler. Here. Boilers used in hotel industry. Okay, so this is the CAA, but student, the CAA here is for Taiwan. Okay, the Clean Air Action, this is for Taiwan, not for United States. Because as but probably for those international, okay, the international probably do not know. Actually, we copy lots of, okay, Taiwanese government actually copy lots of regulations from United States or from Germany. Okay, so we copy this Clear Air Actions. But this one is for Taiwan. But pretty much like, but it's pretty much like the Clean Air Acts in the United States. Okay, to tell you the truth, it's pretty much like that. Okay, so this one in August. Okay, in August 2015, before that. Okay. So the Taiwanese government tried to promote the improvements, starting in hotel industry first. Okay, so we try to. So this is the revised plans. So this is the revised plan starting from 2016. Starting from 2016. So the strategy is we try to promote the reductions of the crude and heavy oils. Okay, so we ask the Taiwanese government asked the hotel industry to replace the energy efficiency. To improve the energy efficiency, for example, like replace the newer boiler, to replace the fuel boilers. So as you can see, the revised plans in 2018, in just 1 year, Taiwanese government reduced SARS 3,000 tons per year, and NOx 1,000 tons. Okay, 1,000 tons. And the TSP. Okay, the TSP here means the dust. Okay, so this is the air particles suspended in air. Okay, so for example, like dust, smoke, shoes, okay, even ash. Okay, the TSP, so it's ordinary spirit, the total suspended particles. Okay, TSP stands for total suspended particle, including like dust, smoke, soot, ash. Okay, however, we are not satisfied. So in 2016, we have this so-called air pollution control measures. Okay, and Taiwanese government imposed even stricter control standards. Okay, for 6,000 small boilers. So it's not just. So we start with a small scale in hotel industry first. Okay, and it's successful. It was successful. Then we move on to in commercial and industrial. Okay, and we reduce PM10 851 tons per year, and reduce PM2.5 175, and also we reduce more SOx and NOx. Okay, so this is about the boiler. So our strategy is starting from the hotel, and the policy was successful. Then we move on to the industrial sector. Okay, this is a strategy. Okay, and the second one is we know the trunk. The trunk, normally they use diesel. They use diesel. And we know diesel actually is very pollutant. Although it saves energy, it's very pollutant. Okay, so Taiwanese government didn't do anything before 2017 to refine the diesel cargo trunks. However, 2017, the air pollution control, we asked the company, okay, the company they run for the transportation business, try to replace 18,000 old vehicles. Okay, we tried ask them to replace, but not immediately. Not immediately. We give them, the Taiwanese government give the companies, transportation company, 2 years to replace 80,000 vehicles, the diesel vehicles. So in this case, we reduce PM10 6,000, okay, around 6,000. You can compare here. Hotels, the boiler only reduced 800, but diesel vehicle reduced how many times? Almost 8 times, right? 8-fold. Reduced 6,000. Okay. Student, you don't need to memorize those numbers. Okay. Okay. Anything else? Yes. In Taiwan, okay. A few weeks ago, I also went to Indonesia. Okay. In Taiwan, we use motorbike for transportations. Okay, the same in Indonesia. Last time I went to Indonesia, I also saw lots of motorbike. Okay, so previously there are two kinds of motorbike. One is called 2-stroke. The other one is called 4-stroke. Okay, student, you go, oh, I don't care about the 2-stroke, 4-stroke. What you need to know is 2-stroke is more polluted. And 4-stroke is less polluted. That's what you need to know. Okay, before those battery, okay, because this we are talking about the years, 8 years ago. Okay, so the two-stroke motorbike is highly polluted. Okay, it's more polluted, and the 4-stroke is less polluted. So the Taiwanese government, okay, the first stage plans, okay, the revised plans for clean air actions in 2016, we try to replace 1 million. The vehicle here means the motorbike, 2-stroke motorbike. Okay, and the rules, the regulations in 2016, we try to replace another million. Okay, so we know that although vehicle just pollute a little polluted, but if there are lots of vehicles, those pollutions will be generated, will accumulate, right? So the Taiwanese government also held the citizens to replace their 2-stroke motorbike into 4-stroke, and now into the battery one, electrical one. Okay. And the last one, is about, so we do not do anything before 2017. Okay, so we try to increase the power generations and reduce pollutions. Okay, what does that mean? Okay, what does that mean? The same thing. We try to replace. The government held the citizen to replace the old vehicle. But this time it's cost. To replace all cars. $8,000 old cars. Oh, not 8,000. 80,000. Okay. So the Taiwanese government provide rewards. Okay, provide rewards. If you want to replace your old car, we can give you some money. Okay, if I remember, it's NT $50,000. Okay, you will receive $50,000 if you want to replace your old car and buy a new car. You will receive $50,000. Okay, because some old car actually the value is less than that. Okay, the value is less than that. So the Taiwanese government give money to citizens. If you want to replace your old car and buy a new car, you will receive $50,000. Okay. Okay. Next one, I think I talked about this previously, right? The primary and secondary. So let's get this. Okay, next one. What are the major air pollutants? Okay. We all know this. Okay. The carbon monoxide. Okay. Hazardous air pollutant. HAPS. HAPS stand for hazardous air pollutants. The lead. This is the heavy metal. So it will cause the issue in your nerve system. It will cause the issue in your nervous system. Okay? Nitrogen oxide. Okay, nitrogen oxide for smoke and acid rain. Ozone. Okay, and sulfur oxide for acid rain. PM10 and PM2.5. 10 stand for 10 micrometer. 2.5 stand for 2.5 micrometers. So, where are the source? Okay, where are the source of those major pollutants? The first one from the fossil fuel combustion. From the fossil fuel combustions. Okay, so the effect will increase in the greenhouse gases, global warming, and acid rain. The second source is automobiles, including the car and motorbike. So the governments, normally government will give some incentive, like money. Okay, incentive like money as a reward, ask you to replace your old car with a new car. Okay, let me ask. Brilliant. So, does Indonesia do the same thing to encourage citizens to replace the old car with new car? Do you know about anything about this?
I think from what I know is that Indonesia currently it's going to be more. They want the citizens to replace the older model cars, like starting from 2010-ish, I think, or below should be like. I don't know if it's illegal or not, but they prohibit it from being used by.
Well, how about previously? Does the government also give this incentive?
Previously, I think there was no action like this. It's only
No
like
action like this.
recently.
So the Taiwanese government starting this 10 years ago. Okay. Tom, what do you know anything about your country? Would you like to share?
Yeah, it's not a focus to use electrical
Or
cars.
use electrical, right?
Yeah. So earlier, if you have an electrical car, you can like drive past the queue, so you don't have to be in the queue. You can just drive next to it. So yeah, a lot of focus on that.
Okay. So just give you an idea. In Japan, Japanese government, they have the new rules. By year 2030, no fossil fuel car will be sold. Okay, only electrical car. Only electric car will be sold. Okay, and Taiwanese government they won't do the same thing, just like Japan, 2030. But now they defer 5 years. So in Taiwan, by the year of 2035, no fossil fuel, no oil car will be sold. Only electric car will be sold in Taiwan. Okay. Okay, so the automobiles is also the pollution source, right? It's a pollution source. Okay, although it just emit a little bit, each car only emit a little bit. But think about this: if there are lots of cars, those pollutants will accumulate into big pollutions. Okay, so the same things. Okay, because we know that those fossil fuel cars, okay, they burn fossil fuel as well. So the same thing, the effect will increase greenhouse gases and acid rain. Okay, refrigeration service. So we no longer those chlorofluorocarbon product will be banned. Okay, you cannot use this as a freezing medium. You cannot use chlorofluorocarbon as a freezing medium because they will destroy ozone layer. Understand? It's a very good, actually, chlorofluorocarbon is a very good freezing agent. Okay, it's a good freezing agent. If it doesn't damage the ozone layer, the problem is it will destroy our ozone layer. So this chlorofluorocarbon product is banned by many countries, but some of countries still use this. Okay, to my understanding, for example, China, India still use chlorofluorocarbon product. They don't care. They just don't care. Okay. And industrial manufacturers, okay, so it will generate those toxic materials. So also it destroy our ozone layers and also generate some toxic emissions. Okay. So next, I would like to talk about those hazards, which mean toxic. Okay. If you inhale PM 2.5, okay, you will not die immediately. You will just shorten your lifespan. But if you inhale those chemicals, you might die immediately. Okay, the first one is tetrachloroacetate. Okay, acid, this is a common name. Tetrachloroacetate. Tetra means four, right? tetrachloro. Ethylene is a common name of ethene. Okay, the first one is this guy, tetrachloroethylene. So this toxic chemical will generate during dry cleaning. Okay, plastics productions will generate VOC. VOC stands for volatile organic compounds. Okay, in electric motor industry, it will use lots of organic solvent and generate lots of organic vapors. And those organic vapor or organic solvent are toxic. It will cause cancer. Solvent degassing will generate VOC as well. Okay, lead is a heavy metals. Okay, it's a heavy metals. So the particulate lead plus the particles from the alloying metals, such as antimony. Okay, those are very heavy metals. Okay, and those major appliance manufacturers, they will generate organic solvent vapors and some inorganic vapors as well. Entire manufacturers will generate organic matter and solvent vapors. Okay, let's start with carbon dioxide. Okay, let's start with carbon monoxide. Let's start with carbon monoxide. The problem for carbon monoxide is carbon monoxide will bind to hemoglobin. Becomes COHB. We know hemoglobin is a good carrier, good transporters for oxygens. And some animals, especially humans, we need oxygens. Okay, we need oxygen for ourselves. Without oxygen, we will die. So the problem for this carbon monoxide, carbon monoxide will compete with oxygen to bind with hemoglobin. And carbon monoxide is almost 200 stronger binding capacity than the oxygens. Okay, so it's going to block. It's going to block oxygen transportation in our body. It's going to block oxygen transport in our body. So it cannot be lethal. Lethal means cause deaths. If the carbon monoxide got 5,000 ppm, for example, 5,000 ppm in this classroom, okay, if there is 5,000 ppm carbon monoxide in this classroom, all of us will die. Okay, and it will cause some impacts at 20 ppm of carbon monoxide, even at low concentrations. It's still dangerous. You will feel faint. Okay? Okay, let's have a 10-minute short break. So now it is 3:10. Everyone please come back 3:20.
Ini ada 15 ke 9 selalu 50 tahun.